The Fable of the Ass, the Bull, and the Husbandman. There was once a merchant, master of riches and cattle, married and the father of children to whom Allah had also given understanding of the tongues of beasts and birds. The place of this merchant's house was in a fertile land on the bank of a river, and in his farm there were an ass and a bull. One day the bull came to the stable where the ass was lodged and found it well swept and watered, with well-winnowed barley in the manger and on the ground well-sifted straw, and the ass lying there at his ease, for when his master mounted him it would only be for some short ride that chance demanded, and the ass would quickly return to his rest. Now on that day the merchant heard the bull say to the ass, "Give you joy of your food, and may you find it healthy, profitable, and of a good digestion. I myself am wearied, but you're rested. You eat well-winnowed barley and are cared for, and if on occasion your master mounts you, he brings you quickly back. As for me, I am but used to labour and to work the mill." And the ass said, "When you go out into the field and they put the yoke upon your neck, throw yourself to the earth and do not rise. Even if they beat you also, when you do get up, fall down again immediately. And after, if they let you back to the beer and give you beans to eat, leave them as if you were ill. Force yourself in this way not to eat or drink for a day or two or even 3. Thus you will rest from your labour and your weariness." Remember that the merchant was there and heard their words. When the husbandman came to give forage to the bull, he saw that he ate very little, and when in the morning he took him out to work he found him to be ill. Then the merchant said to the husbandman, "Take the ass and make him work in the bull's place for the whole day." So the man returned and took the ass in place of the bull and made it labour during the whole day. When the ass came back to the stable at the end of the day, the bull thanked him for his goodness of heart and for having let him rest from his fatigue. But the ass answered nothing, and instead repented very bitterly. Next day the husbandman came and took the ass again and made him work till the fall of day, so that the ass returned with a goued neck and broken by fatigue. Then the bull, seeing the state he was in, began to thank him with effusion and load him with praises. To which the ass replied, "How restful were the days before this, when nothing but luxury was my lot," and added, "Meanwhile I will give you a piece of good advice. I heard our master say, if the bull does not get up from his place, we must hand him over to the slaughterer to kill and to make a leather cloth for the table. I am much afraid for your safety." When the bull heard the ass's words, he thanked him and said, "Tomorrow I will go with them freely and attend to my labours." But with that he began to eat and swallowed all the forage and even licked the bushel clean with his tongue. Remember, their master saw and heard all this. When the day came, the merchant went out with his wife towards the bears, and both of them sat down. Then the husbandman came and took out the bull, who, at the sight of his master, began to frisk his tail and loudly break wine and gallop wildly in all directions. The merchant was seized with such a laughter that he rolled on his back. His wife asked, "What are you laughing at?" He answered, "At a thing which I have seen and heard, but of which I may not tell you without dying." And she said, "You must tell me the reason of your laughter, even if you have to die for it." He said, "I cannot tell you, because I fear to die." Then said she, "I know, you are laughing at me." After this she did not cease to quarrel and confound him with woeful words until she drove him into great perplexity. Finally he made his children come to him and sent to call the Qada and witnesses, wishing to make his will before he should tell the secret to his wife and die. For he greatly loved his wife, since she was the daughter of his father's brother and the mother of his children, and since he had lived with her for 120 years. Further, he invited all his wife's relatives and the folk of the district, and relating the story, told them how he would die on the instant of revealing his secret. Then all who were present said to the wife, "Allah be with you. Leave this matter on one side, lest your husband, the father of your children, die." But she answered, "I will never leave him in peace until he tells me, even if he has to die for it." So they stopped reasoning with her, and the merchant rose from among them and went, by the side of the stable, towards the garden, in order that he might first make his death oblivion there and then return to tell his secret and to die. Now the merchant had a valiant cock which could satisfy 50 hens, and also a dog. And he heard the dog calling to the cock and scolding it, saying, "Are you not ashamed of being so gay when our master is on the point of death?" Then the cock asked the dog how this was so, and when the dog had told him the story, he exclaimed, "By Allah, Our master is extraordinarily lacking in intelligence. I myself have 50 wives, and I succeed very well by contenting one and scolding another, while he who has only one wife does not know the way of dealing even with her. It is quite simple. He has but to cut himself some good mulberry twigs, go back in strength to his private room, and beat her until she either dies or repents. She will not importune him with any questions on any subject after that, I do assure you." So the cock spoke. And when the merchant heard him, light returned to his reason, and he resolved to beat his wife. Here the wazir paused in his story and said to his daughter Sharasta, "It may be I shall do to you as the merchant did to his wife." As she asked him, "What did he do?" And the wazir continued, "The merchant entered his wife's chamber, after having cut and hidden about him certain mulberry twigs, and called to her, saying, 'Come into my private room that I may tell you my secret, out of the sight of all, and then die.' So she entered with him, and he shut the door of the private room and fell upon her with redoubled blows until she swooned away. Finally, when she could speak, she cried, 'I repent, I repent,' and beginning to caress her husband's hands and feet, did repent in very truth. Afterwards she walked out with him, and all the relatives and those gathered there rejoiced. Happy and prosperous were the fortunes of them all until their deaths." Thus he spoke, and when Shahrazad, the wazir's daughter, heard her father's story, she said, "Even so, my father, I wish you to do what I have asked you." So the wazir, without insisting further, had the wedding garments of his daughter Shahrazad made ready, and then went to tell the matter to King Shahryar. Meanwhile, Shahrazad gave these instructions to her young sister, "When I am with the king, I will send to fetch you. Then when you have come and when you see the king finish his act with me, you must say, 'Tell me, my sister, some of your stories of marvel, that the night may pass pleasantly.' Then will I tell you tales which, if Allah wills, shall be the deliverance of the daughters of the Musmulans." After this the wazir, her father, came to take her and went up with her into the presence of the king. And the king, being overborne with happiness, said to him, "Is the needful thing indeed present?" And respectfully the wazir answered, "Yes." But when the king wished to take the young girl, she began to weep, so that he asked, "What ails you?" And she answered, "O my king, I have a little sister, and I would say my farewells to her." So the king sent for the little sister, who came and threw herself upon the neck of Shahrazad, and lastly cowered down beside the bed. Then the king rose, and taking the maiden Shahrazad, ravished her virginity. Afterwards they spoke together, and Dunyazad said to Shahrazad, "Allah be with you. Tell us, my sister, some of your tales of marvel, that the night may pass pleasantly." And Shahrazad answered, "Gladly, and as a duty, if the great and courteous king permits." When the king heard these words, and being moreover unable to sleep, he was in no way averse to listening to the tale of Shahrazad. And Shahrazad, this first night, began the following tale.
Like, comment, and subscribe.